This morning we're talking about financing inclusive education. The fact that inclusive education can remove learning barriers for every child, and it can tackle discrimination in our society. However, not much funds is being allocated to teaching and learning processes of the trainees. Now we'll go for a soundbite on part of our mission, and then we'll come back and we've been joined by Rose Ofe, who teaches teachers to be able to practice inclusive education. She's joined us this morning. We'll just listen to this, and then we'll come back and talk more about this.
Like terms. What are they doing?
It is a difficult life, one that is not normal. They are at a disadvantage, but many have landed here. Some can partially see, while others are totally blind. They are here to acquire education, but it is a dream that comes with a lot of difficulty. The children are disadvantaged. The kindergarten classes are worse off.
This is what they have. I'm trying to move it around, quite a difficult one. That's not all. They have this one here. This is what we call the swing or the seesaw, if you want to call it that. Not in a very good shape, but this is what they have. But hey, the dangerous of them all, the most dangerous, is this slide here. This is what you see, metal with a huge hole in here. Kids are supposed to sit on this and slide down. But certainly, this is not an ideal situation. They simply can't use it. And you can see that for days, months, and perhaps years,
this is 3FM 92.7.
The playground tells a tale of neglect.
In fact, nothing for them to play with. We really struggle. There's a time they need just to go out like the sighted children, just to play with things like seesaw. The instruments that the sighted people have as KG, but we don't, none is here. In fact, we struggle.
The school has not even given thought to getting the playground fixed due to the challenges with funding for other equally important activities.
Imagine the person cannot feed, no money to feed such children, then what about their comfortability? So we are still pleading that the government should come into the aid of these disabled people, so that at least they are part of the community, they are part of the society. They can also feel that they are being loved, so that their life can go on, because some of them complete. For instance, there's a woman there who completed there, and she has come back to teach.
Hundreds of these young ones live on this compound. What will enable them develop themselves is not there.
As they cannot see, without the materials, they will not know the real subject, even though they will know what you are teaching, but they always want to have the feel of the object that, or the real thing that you the teacher wants the children to grab. And without the materials, they will be doubting.
Problems in the classrooms also curtail academic work. Teachers speak of great worry. They are special children who need special attention, but that special attention is not forthcoming. In fact, parents have even neglected their own. Over 200 children left in conditions that can retard their development.
This is 3FM
and so, though they are ready to contribute their quota to develop in Ghana, certain conditions threaten their development. As they rehearse to take part in the Independence Parade, there's one thing on the minds of these children at the Wa Methodist School for the Blind, and that is what is told by the officials.
I also inquired how the various assemblies where these children are coming from, because they are coming from all over the country. Some are from Upper East, And the districts, the various district assemblies that support these disabled children in the various districts, the common fund that comes in the name of these disabled people, persons, they call their parents and then they give the monies to them, and they don't give any money. As soon as they put the children in the car and they come, that ends it. So sometimes provisions like soap, like toothpaste and other things becomes difficult for them.
Though lucky they find themselves here, school officials say this should not be the end to supporting the disadvantaged. Effort to support unfortunate ones should be increased.
All right, so that's a sound clip from my colleague Brad Nana, who put this together on inclusive education and some of the challenges that visually impaired students would have to go through. Now, this morning we've been joined by Rose Sofe, who's a unit head special education at the Akropong College, Presbyterian College of Education, and a member of the Ghana National Educational Campaign Coalition. Now, this program is supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida EU and UK Aid. Madam Rose Sofe, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you too.
Great. So, listening and having the privilege of watching, I asked myself, what is it about inclusive education? Why aren't we able to do that?
All right. Inclusive education, when you look at what WA School for the Blind is facing, WA School for the Blind will say that it's a segregated school. And as you heard from the horse's own mouth, the parents will just come, dump the children, and go away. So when we create an enabling environment in the child's own locality for the child to also mingle with his or her peers around the school, in his locality, the child will perform well. That's where the child will have the opportunity to stay with the parents. And inclusive education is about creating equal access to every child to have quality education in his or her locality or close, where parents will also be responsible enough and take care of their children.
Okay, so you are you are head of unit of the Akropong College of Education,
yes,
Presbyterian College of Education,
yeah.
And so you train teachers,
yes,
to do what specifically?
To go identify children who have some form of disability, because some of the disabilities are hidden, others are glaring. And so being able to identify and then support that child to also learn to that child's maximum ability.
And these students that you train to go and, identify and be able to train the child and maximize the child's ability, would you say they've been able to achieve the objective, the goal of training them? Have they done that? Have they been able to achieve inclusive education by maximizing these objectives?
We are doing our best, but I'll say that our best has never been enough. That is why I partner with NEC, that is Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, so that we'll let our voices heard all over the country, so that we'll have the support from both parents, teachers, all stakeholders to come on board and support the mission and vision of inclusive education.
You're always talking about we're doing our best, yes, but what is that best that you're doing? I'm sure you have targets, and so once you have targets, you're measuring your performance by the targets that you've set for yourself.
Yeah,
this is what you seek to do. Have you been able to achieve it?
Yeah, we have achieved to a level. For example, come 16th June, we are having a Grand Derby on our 170th anniversary, and we are going to award certificates to individuals who have learned sign language, because we have instituted sign language school. And for now, when I went to the college in 2006,
okay,
and the performance of individuals with disability wasn't the best, but by God's grace, we had 2 visually impaired getting first class.
Okay.
And then we have a hearing impaired who has finished with his doctorate degree, and another almost done with his master's degree at the University of Cape Coast.
Okay.
Last Saturday, that was 2 days ago, our students who were having their SRC week had beauty pageants. And students with hearing impairments merged first.
Oh, okay.
So we can say that we are trying to see and portray the potentials of individuals with disability. We allowed the School for the Deaf, that's we work in collaboration. So School for the Blind, brass band came to perform. We had a School for the Deaf, technical, secondary technical, and then the basic school also came to perform. And you realize that even somebody with deaf-blind is doing very well in his capacity, that is, what ability he had.
What's the challenge?
We also have a deaf-blind child who is at University of Education now.
What's the problem? I mean, what's the problem facing the attainment of inclusive education in Ghana?
In fact, the most or the worst challenge is attitude, attitudinal discourse. Our infrastructure.
What is it about attitude?
The attitude is about parents, teachers, heads of institutions, and other stakeholders. For instance, parents who have given birth to their children with disability think that they have other abling children, so they feel that for those with disability, normally in account they say they are sick people, and so they will prefer spending their monies on those without disability, leaving those with the disability out. Whereas those with disability can even perform better. As I said, we had those with disability getting first class when somebody without disability getting third class and a pass. So it means that even though the person may have disability, that person can function if we create an enabling environment for that person.
What about infrastructure?
The infrastructure, most of the schools are not accessible enough. For instance, if somebody is using a wheelchair, we visited some schools and it's not well at all, well structured. And then access to the classrooms. You know, somebody in a wheelchair, somebody who is blind, how to get access to the school is a problem. So some have a story building without lifts or ramps.
Is it the same thing at the Presbyterian College of Education?
We are restructuring, but it's not all that's.
So as of now, is the same thing.
The school was built in 1848. So you can imagine the structures were already there, and that's where blind education started. It started in 1935, informally, and formally in 1945. But the structures were there already. So we are now improving on what we have, even though it's not the best.
Now, there are times when some of these teachers have been taught, and I was at a forum the last time where a visually impaired person said she went to a school to teach and she was told, hey, so even when it comes to the schools, some of these persons who are supposed to go help, you are in charge of special education, but they go in there and people who are, physically, visually impaired, physically challenged, they go to schools and they're not giving a chance to teach. They're ridiculed.
Yes. Even our teachers who are having a disability. For instance, there was this guy who was posted to a school, and the sarcastic comments made by head, if I should quote that person, he said, in a can, ye hear obiabe boya, ye watch the ye hear obiabe boya, she be bibia, a dear brain.
Really? The head teacher said that?
Yes, in presence of that person who can understand the language. In fact, it was very hurting. And he called me. And so I realized that what we were doing is not enough, because we are only conscientizing our students, looking at, they do special education as a general course, but they are examination centered. Everybody is looking at getting A and B and all that without thinking about how I'm going to implement it. But our college, we are trying to conscientize our students as to how to handle individuals with disability. However, what about the majority out there? Taking the number of training colleges in the country, it is only Presbyterian College of Education which has the deaf. There are 3 colleges who are training the blind. And it's last year, the blind themselves went to NCT to talk about it, that they want some other colleges so that at least they will have it at each zone to be trained. And children with disability, even though students who were going through the training to train or teach or implement inclusive education, are given some sort of tuition, they go out there and being able to function is a problem, because they are only focusing on passing their examination.
Okay, well, we need to be wrapping it all up. So what would you want to see being done for, inclusive education?
Inclusive education is not only about the teacher or the government alone. It's all on board. Both the child with disability, all stakeholders are to come on board. And then our attitude, which is the major problem to individuals with disability, needs to be changed. And I'm grateful to you, these FM stations and the media, and then Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, who is trying to let our voices heard so that people's attitude will change towards individuals with disability, because they also have the potentials to function.
Thank you very much, Rosoff, head of special education at the Presbyterian College of Education at Akropong, for joining us this morning. We are very grateful to you.
I'm also grateful. You are all welcome to our anniversary. Come and see what the disabled can do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We definitely would come and see what the disabled can do.